What is your name and where are you from?
My name is John Quentero. I've lived in so many places I don't really know where I'm from anymore. I got family in Atlanta, Georgia, Woodstock area. So let's go with that.
Why did you feel a need to move to Nashville?
The initial reason for me moving to Nashville, it was for a girl, honestly. I wasn't really doing any country music at the time. I had finished, well, I had gone to a certain music school in Boston that and so I had a really big chip on my shoulder. You know, in the 80s when you go to Berkeley, you know, you just come out like, psh, I can work anywhere I want to. And I was dating a girl, and she was in Christian music, and she wanted to come to Nashville. Nashville with her, probably 93. The second time I came to Nashville, it was for country music. So I've actually been in Nashville. This is my fourth tour. This is my fourth time in Nashville. And after the first time, I just got hooked. I just had to be here. And so I guess that's the roundabout reason. You know, originally for love, and then after that it was music.
What hooked you about Nashville that was so important to you?
What really struck me as far as Nashville was the city is like no other city I've been in. I've been in just about every major city in this country, playing or visiting, and everyone's friendly, you know, in every city. But this city, I mean, there was just a genuine realness to it. Even if they didn't like you, there's just a genuine realness to it. And so when I was here for my first couple of years, I had to kind of just let some of myself go and just kind of embrace the culture here. You know, the southern hospitality that you hear about so often. I mean, I saw it here more than any other city I'd been in. I mean, I've lived in Atlanta, and I've lived in Louisiana, and I've lived in Florida. So it's just been a very real experience. So I just love it here.
When you left your original home, what did you leave behind, or what did you sacrifice to come to Nashville? What did you leave behind you?
When I first came to Nashville, I really didn't leave that much behind. Honestly, my very, very first time, I was in my early 20s. I was in fight or flight mode. You know, I had been on my own since I was 18, so it could have been Chicago, it could have been New Orleans. I really was just more of let's go try something new, kind of an experience. When I left Nashville in '98, it took me about a minute and a half to realize what a fool I was for leaving Nashville. And it took me 7 years of real figuring myself out, and it took me a long time to be able to come back. Actually, and I knew what I needed. I needed to be able to have a job. I needed to be able to have a place to stay. And you know, it took me a really long time. The second time was the effort. Yes, the second time for me was, I know what I left behind. I know what I'm missing. I need to get back there. And so I actually started in New York, and then a year or two later, I moved to Baltimore, and then about 2 or 3 years later, I moved to Atlanta. You know, and so I was like working my way south till I could get back to Nashville.
What was the first thing you did when you got to Nashville?
Well, I want to go from my second time on. My first time was just I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. First thing when I got to Nashville, besides thank God, really, was just immediately start, even before the music, just start finding a way to be able to stay. in Nashville. I think too many people come here with this grandiose knowledge that they're going to reinvent the wheel, the country music wheel, and they're going to be here and there's going to be no problem. I immediately knew that it was a grind, it's a fight, and I had to be able to, okay, do I have a job, career, living arrangements? Am I set up for more than the next 2 months? I need to have a plan for the next 2 to 20 years. So that was my first thing, was just securing myself in town. Once I got that going, I started reaching out, to other writers, finding ways to just kind of get myself into the music culture, which is funny because I was actually living on Music Row. I was living on 17, and I was like, and then I would walk 2 blocks to a bus stop to get to my job. Well, I was waiting tables, of course. And so it took me a while to just kind of secure myself, and then start working into some writers.
Well, that second time you came to Nashville, did you have a plan at that point? I mean, you'd been here once before. When you came back the second time, did you have a plan of what you were going to do as far as musical wise? Not just living, but musically.
Well, I did have a plan when I came to Nashville. I don't think it lasted more than a week. If the question is, did I have a plan to come in and get myself started? I kind of more knew what not to do as far as songwriting goes. And even then, there's 100 people that will tell you that they wouldn't agree with my philosophy. But I had a friend a good friend of mine who is the owner and creator of Nashville Universe, who was giving me tips on how to approach things. And the first rule of thumb was you don't even want to be a mile off of Music Row when you're doing stuff. That's where all the publishers are. That's where all the producers are. That's where where you really want to be. Even the Demonbrian and all that sort of stuff. You just want to be there. Even Bobby's Idle Hour. I mean, you just want to be as close to the row as possible, and you want to just kind of pick your targets. It's like, don't worry about playing at 9 o'clock at night. Play at 5 o'clock in the afternoon because that's when everyone's getting out. Don't be sitting there and playing, someplace out in Hermitage. Who's gonna drive all the way from Music Row to where they live in Hermitage just to say right before they get to the house, let's go have a beer at this? No, it's just the logistics of it all is really what I started doing, and I started combing through the Craigslist and all that sort of stuff just to kind of see, and just there's 1,000 ads on there, and you just gotta kind of after a while you kind of learn how to spot things, how they're worded, and things like that. And that's actually where I met Jeremy Dean. I was on a Craigslist ad.
Well, did you find what you expected to find in Nashville when you got here? Is it what you thought it was going to be?
It was not what I expected in Nashville when I got here the second time around. And I think a lot of that is because it is, at the end of the day, a business. It's at the end of the day, it's an industry. And there's great parts about it, and there's not great parts about it. And everyone, on their way in, sees Nashville. The very tip of the iceberg is the city line and the music and the TV show and all that sort of stuff. But I think there's there's a very realness to it. You know, I thought the biggest accomplishment in my life that I had done was move to Nashville the second time. That doesn't even compare, to the things that I've had to do to be in this industry and to stay in this industry. And it's, people come in here with dreams, and I'm all for dreams. I got dreams, but the difference between dreams and reality is discipline and perseverance, and you just got to be able to wear multiple hats, not hold grudges, not be angry when things don't always go your way. Pick yourself up, seriously. It's a tough industry, and there's a lot of people that come here, get a job, and play a couple songs at a couple writers' nights, a couple times a month, and they are in heaven, and that's awesome. I want success in this industry, so there's a difference,
Things that's happened to you since you got into songwriting.
Some of the successful things that have happened to me in songwriting have been, I was very lucky to have a couple of songs that I wrote cut for a compilation CD. It was called All for South America. It was Christian. I was given 2 cuts. Not too many other people on that were given 2 cuts. I knew a lot of the writers too, but it was for just helping orphanages and AIDS clinics and stuff down in Bogota, Colombia, and other parts of South America. It was full production. It was full-on production, and I was very lucky. I was very happy about that. It was obviously for a good cause, so I never saw any royalties, and I didn't ask for it. Just the fact that you get to a point where you just need to break in. You need to say, I got a cut. And to have 2 is awesome. There's a couple groups and artists that have liked my writing so much that they've taken 3 or 4 songs. No one's gotten signed yet, but the fact, I feel to me that I'm on the right track when other people like my songs to the point where they say, hey, can I cut that? Or hey, can I play that in my live show? That to me is success. You can play it out at the writers' nights in the world. You can play your songs all day long, But when other people like it enough to say, hey, can I get that? I'm really thinking about cutting it. Or hey, also I was able to, I don't know how the stars aligned. I have a song on hold with Darius Rucker right now. I had a couple songs that were pitched to Ronnie Dunn. That's, I think to me, is getting in the right direction. At least getting some type of higher level industry notice, I think, is really good for me. I firmly believe, and I've seen it happen, so you get one person to cut one of your songs and it does well, suddenly you've got a lot of people looking at your songs. So we'll see what happens. I'm happy.
Be one of those.
Community, to me, in a very loving way, is bipolar, but in a very loving way, though. Everyone, you got people that are just, hey, they're just opening their houses to you. They're just, saying, hey, let's have a bonfire. Let's all get out of our guitars. Let's all, sit around in a beautiful sort of kumbaya sort of way, and they just, hey, I'm having a writer's night. Why don't you come out and play at my writer's night? Hey, I'm having a writer's night. Why don't you come and play my writer's night? And that is a very community loving. And some of these writers have, friends of mine have gone way above and beyond for me. One particular person, my transmission blew on my truck. They were like, well, okay. They came over, scooped me up, let me sleep on their couch that night, brought me back to my truck the next day, and did a quick fix on my transmission so I could get home. I'm like, wow, I mean, that no one does that really for free. They're like, nah, just, whatever, pay it back. But there are also people that have just been kind of on one far side of it all. They'll network with each other, and they'll do these, especially the Christmas parties, songwriter parties, and all that sort of stuff. But a lot of them are just happy in that area. There's the other side of the pendulum is it's all very, very, very business. It's all, we have this 3-hour writing session from 2 to 5. Don't be 2 minutes late. Have your ideas ready. Just very, very methodical and business. And you got to be able to float between both sides. You just have to. I love the community. I think a lot of people here have come to be healed in some sort of way. 20s, 30s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I think a lot of them have come to find some type of healing in the guise of, I want to be a successful country songwriter. They want acceptance, and they want, and as do I. And there's a smaller percentage that are all about the goals. I need to get in with this producer. I need to get in with this plugger. I need to do this. I need to do that. And so I mean, it's a fantastic thing to look at when you step back. It's like, I want to be with these people because they are absolutely goal oriented, and they are, we're going to bust through that door. And I want to be with these people because they all love each other and want to help each other and be, just be with each other and write with each other. And there's just like, to me, if we could get these two together, man, it'd be awesome. I mean, that'd just be the best thing. I don't see a lot of these people and these people talking to each other. So
maybe you can fix that.
Oh yeah. I'm probably saying all the wrong things.
No, you're doing fine. Right, if you had to do this over, let's say you had a time machine, you're going to go back and you're 23 years old again, would you move back to Nashville and do this music thing, or would you find something else?
I would do this.
That's right.
Absolutely. If I had, of course, if you had the knowledge of the next 20 years,
Sure.
without placing an $100 bet on the Yankees to win the World Series, or or the Red Sox twice, then I wouldn't have to work again. But aside from that, I would obviously, everyone, if they had the opportunity to not make certain decisions or choose differently, sure. But even if I had to deal with the heartaches and the mistakes, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would never move away. I would not have had to work so hard to come back to Nashville 2 and 3 times afterwards.
Well, is there anything we didn't cover that you think a songwriter would benefit from your knowledge? You've been doing this for years. What would you tell somebody who wants to do this? What would you tell them? What's advice to them?
Friendly advice to a songwriter that wants to make it his or her profession. It's there's a difference between art and business. When I first started writing songs, I was actually coming out of like the rock scene, and so each song had a very, very personal. They were my child, and no one could tell me how to reword it. No one could tell me how to change a progression. No one could tell me anything because it was my child. and now I've kind of adopted the cook approach. I want to cook a really good meal that someone's going to like. You know, I want to have different. You know, if there's someone that says, I think this would look good, taste good. You know that might. Let's try it. But in the end, I want to be able to present a really great dish to someone. If you like steak, I want to cook the best steak for you. If this person here likes waffles, I want to cook some fantastic waffles. I don't want to look at them like they're all like my first or second or third born child. I want to be able to say, this is the best I could do with the ingredients given to me, and I want you to enjoy this meal. And I think for a songwriter to get into that mentality of you're not going to, it's not going to hurt your soul to be able to let other people give you feedback or input, to be able to say, okay, well, this artist tends to like these types of topics, or this producer likes it done this way, is going to further your ability to communicate with your music to other people. Too many songwriters I've seen that just are guarding each song so closely that they're never going to see the light of day. They just aren't. Some of these are great songs, but they just, no, because I don't want to change this line, or I don't want to change this, or no, I don't want it to be 5 minutes. I want it to be 5 minutes long. I have a whole lot to say. You know, you have to look at what the industry's looking for. You have to really do your homework. Start sending out demos of Christmas songs in June. Start sending demos of, beach songs in December. You know, when everyone's starting to look to start recording. You know, just understand the business. I can't stress enough, you cannot just sit there believing that you have some God-given ability and that the doors are magically going to open. Because there's a million people in this town believing that very same thing. You know, and the door's going to open for you, but not for them. The industry wants what it wants. So that's what I would say to any writer,
Okay.
Is understand that you are conforming to an industry. Just because you watch a lot of Chips when you were young doesn't mean you're a cop. You know, just because you watch a lot of cooking shows doesn't mean you're a chef. You know, you got to be able to go in and receive training from others, whether it's official training or not. Learn from them. That's all I got.
What's the best thing about being a songwriter?
The best thing about being a songwriter for me is probably different from a lot of people. I love the look on the artist's face when we're in that writing session, and at some point in that session, the light turns on their face, and they're just like, oh yeah, and we can do this, and we can do that. When I can get the artist to engage, and artists, I love other writers. I don't really write with a whole lot of other just writers anymore. I'm going for artists, producers, whoever has the ability to put it on some hard media, you know. So if I can get the artist to engage and really start loving the song, to me that's the best part of it, because I want them to absolutely enjoy the process with me, to enjoy the I don't want to say journey, but journey of the song, and have it be something that they love so much that they can't wait to play it out live. That is my job, and when I see that in them, it's Christmas for me.
Thanks, John.
Hey man, I appreciate it.